1948. For Palestinians, that year is Al-Nakba, or the catastrophe. When hundreds of thousands were forced out of their homes. For Israelis, that year marks the creation of the State of Israel. As a filmmaker and as a Palestinian, this documentary series was my way to understand the events of the past that are still shaping the present.
Our story starts here in 1799, outside the walls of Acre in Ottoman-controlled Palestine. An army under Napoleon Bonaparte besieged the city, all part of a campaign to defeat the Ottomans and establish a French presence in the region. In search of allies, Napoleon issued a letter offering Palestine as a homeland to the Jews under French protection. He called on the Jews to rise up against what he called their oppressors. Napoleon's appeal was widely publicized, but he was ultimately defeated. In Acre today, the only memory of him is a statue atop a hill overlooking the city. Yet Napoleon's project for a Jewish homeland in the region under a colonial protectorate did not die. 40 years later, the plan was revived by the British, this time as a means of thwarting the rising power of Egyptian governor Muhammad Ali. In 1840, British Foreign Secretary Lord Palmerston wrote to his ambassador in Constantinople, urging him to convince the Sultan and his entourage to open Palestine for the immigration of Jews. At that time, there were estimated to be no more than 3,000 Jews in Ottoman-controlled Palestine. Over the years, Jewish immigration to Palestine increased, helped on by wealthy benefactors. One of these was the French aristocrat Baron Edmond de Rothschild. He began visiting Palestine in the 1880s and became one of the Jewish community's leading sponsors. He spent over 14 million French francs to establish 30 Jewish settlements. The most important was Rishon-LeZion, founded in 1882. Today, the remains of Baron de Rothschild lie in a mausoleum in northern Israel. It's a popular site for Israeli schoolchildren learning about the wealthy patron who bankrolled Jewish settlement building in Palestine over 100 years ago. In 1885, the term Zionism was first coined by Austrian writer Nathan Birnbaum. It's derived from the word Zion, one of the biblical names for Jerusalem. Zionism came to mean the establishment of a Jewish homeland in Palestine, but not all Jews supported this.
طبعا كان في طائفة يهودية في البلاد تحت الحكم العثماني، بس هذا ما كانوا صهاينة، هم كانوا يهود محليين. أما اليهود اللي أجوا من أوروبا، خصوصا من شرق أوروبا هذيك الوقت في أواخر القرن ال19، كان بدهم يبنوا صهيوني يهودي جديد.
In 1896, Theodor Herzl, an Austro-Hungarian journalist, wrote a book called The Jewish State. It is considered one of the most important texts of early Zionism. Herzl envisioned the founding of a future independent Jewish state during the 20th century. His colleague Max Nordau sent 2 rabbis to Palestine to investigate the prospects for a Jewish state there. Their report concluded, "The bride is beautiful, but she is married to another man." The rabbis understood that Palestine's spouse was the Palestinian society rooted in its soil. In 1897, Herzl, with Birnbaum and Nordau, convened the first Zionist Congress in the Swiss city of Basel. The Congress adopted a program for the establishment of a homeland for the Jewish people in Palestine.
إنما هرتزل بدأ يدعو رسميا وعلنا لإقامة هذا الكيان، وثانيا اتصال بدول العالم الكبرى آنذاك في أوروبا بشكل خاص حتى تحمي واحدة منها تحمي هذا الكيان. فهرتزل هو أبو الدولة الصهيونية ما في شك، لكنه ليس مبدع الفكر الصهيوني. هو ما عقد مؤتمر لهذه الدول معا واتفقت الدول على دعمه. هو كان يثير التنافس بين دولة وأخرى، كان يكذب على دولة أنه أنا سأكون معكم إذا أسستم دولة إسرائيل ضد الدول الأخرى، أنا أؤمن مصالحكم على حساب مصالح الدول الأخرى.
In 1907, the British government set up a committee to devise a strategy toward the Muslim Arab population of the Ottoman Empire. The committee's report, submitted to British Prime Minister Henry Campbell Bannerman in 1907, recommended establishing a so-called buffer state in Palestine. The report proposed this state be hostile to its neighbors and friendly to Europe. The aim was to divide the region and so assure Britain's continued imperial dominance.
بحيث أن هذا الجسم يكون معتمد على الاستعمار الغربي ويعتمد على الأوروبيين. هذا الجسم ضمان بقائه أن يكون ما حوله ضعيفا.
في كمان فكر عند الأوروبيين إنه اليهود مقربين لهم أكثر من العرب، وإذا تكون هون دولة يهودية بيكون أفضل إلهم.
In 1907, Chaim Weizmann, a chemist who had emerged as a leader among British Zionists, visited Palestine for the first time. He set out to establish a company in Jaffa to develop the land of Palestine, a practical means to pursue the Zionist dream of building a Jewish state. His venture was supported by Baron de Rothschild. Within 3 years, a major deal was struck. The Jewish National Fund, set up to buy land in Palestine, purchased some 10,000 dunams in the Maj bin Amma region of northern Palestine. The sale to the Jewish National Fund had dire consequences for the thousands of Palestinian farmers living on the land.
أكثر من 60,000 فلسطيني في منطقة مرج بن عامر. إذا كانت النكبة تعني ترحيل الإنسان الفلسطيني من أرضه والاستيلاء على أرضه في القوة ضمن هذول المركبين، فحقيقة النكبة بدأت عشرات السنين قبل 48.
A more drastic form of colonialism than the average classical European colonialism, in the sense that their purpose was actually not so much only to exploit the locals, but to drive them out.
From the very early moment that the Zionist movement targeted Palestine as the place for Jewish independence and statehood, and it was clear that there were Palestinians on the land, the Zionist leaders and common people alike got used to the idea that the only way of making Palestine a Jewish state is by causing the Palestinians to leave.
إخلاء الفلاحين هو تطبيق للمبدأين، من ناحية الاستيلاء على الأرض تسمى تهويد الأرض، وثانيا العمل العبري، وهو الاستعاضة عن فلاحين عرب بيهود إما من شرق أوروبا، وفي حالات أخرى عندما قل العدد استعانوا بيهود من اليمن.
A Jewish militia known as Hashomer was established to protect the growing number of Jewish settlements. Jews held demonstrations to demand the recognition of Hebrew as an official language under Ottoman rule.
العربي والفلسطيني كان واعي من اليوم الأول لمفهوم الصهيونية. هي حركة عنصرية تبحث عن رأس مال لاستعمار أرض وتوظيف البعد الديني لجعلها وطن لمن تبقى منها يهود العالم في هوية وكيان ومستقبل سياسي. هذا الوعي كان واضح جدا عن نجيب عزوري، كان واضح جدا عن نجيب نصار.
In 1908, Najib Nassar, a Palestinian pharmacist, began publishing a newspaper called Al-Carmel. In it, he warned of Zionism as a movement aimed at displacing the Palestinians. He wrote, "The Jewish state would be a poisonous dagger in the heart of the Arabs." The outbreak of World War I in 1914 created new opportunities to reshape the Middle East.
خلال الحرب البريطانيين كان يفكروا عن الموقع يعني فلسطين على قرب من قناة السويس ودور بريطانيا في مصر آنذاك كان يدل على دور خاص لبريطانيا في فلسطين، ورأوا في اليهود وفي الحركة الصهيونية شريك في أمر استراتيجي استعماري.
In 1915, a secret memorandum was presented to the British cabinet under the title The Future of Palestine. It was drafted by Herbert Samuel, a British politician and Zionist committed to Palestine becoming a home for the Jewish people. In the document, Samuel advised that the time was not ripe for the establishment of an autonomous Jewish state in Palestine. He recommended instead that Palestine be annexed to the British Empire, describing this as the most welcome solution to the supporters of the Zionist movement. He expressed the hope that under British rule, and over time, more Jews would settle in the land and grow into a majority, among what he called the Mohammedans of Arab race. Samuel's recommendations were taken into account in the secret British-French agreement, formulated by British politician Sir Mark Sykes and French diplomat François-Georges Picot. The Sykes-Picot agreement opened the way for the establishment of a Jewish state. In 1917, the British cabinet, headed by Prime Minister David Lloyd George, pledged to establish a homeland for the Jews in Palestine. The pledge came in the form of a letter from the British Foreign Secretary Arthur Balfour to the influential British Zionist Lord Walter Rothschild.
بالفور كان يمثل الحكومة البريطانية، ولما كتب رسالته إلى لورد روثشايلد كان يكتب باسم الحكومة البريطانية. روثشايلد كان يلعب دور شخصي اللوبي ليشجع الحكومة البريطانية أن تأخذ سياسة معينة بالنسبة إلى دور اليهود في فلسطين. فكان يمثل الحركة الصهيونية، ووراء كلهم خايم بايزمان اللي كان المسؤول بالنسبة للورلد زاينست اورجانيزيشن أو المنظمة الدولية الصهيونية.
واللي شارك في صياغة الوعد يعني.
نعم.
Britain had no moral or political or legal right to promise the land that belonged to the Arabs to another people. So the Balfour Declaration was both immoral and illegal.
A month after Balfour's pledge, a meeting took place in London to celebrate the declaration. Speakers included Lord Rothschild,